See, a little delay. We'll get it right. Welcome to the show. It's 11 o'clock on Monday. We're very happy to be here with you. This is a new time. Believe it or not, this is the first in-studio show that I have done since March of 2020. A very famous time. It seems that March 2020 is the beginning of this COVID deal. There we go. And COVID-19. And so I'm very happy to be back here, getting used to it. If I don't hit buttons right or all those things, well, let's give it that as the reason that I'm just sort of getting back to it again. Here at the Neutral Zone, Maui Neutral Zone.com. Really important because you can find, in a bit, you'll find this show and all the shows going back. What's interesting about us is, and this show is going to change its name to M.A.M.A Presents, because the Neutral Zone was started in 2018 by us, in June of 2018, to do interviews of people. I was going to do politics, but because we didn't want to do it on the air and have to deal with equal time, I started doing issues and started interviewing people about different things in the community and globally. And I've done, I guess, about 140 shows, and that's a lot of shows. And there have been breaks in the time with COVID, and still did a lot on Zoom, still may again. But M.A.M.A Presents, Maui Arts and Music Association, me and my partner Airielle have been doing interviews and covering events and people since, God, no, you'll make me old, since 1992. 1992, there's a gentleman, may he rest in peace, a wonderful guy named Fred Ruge, who everyone may know as Salvation Army. Used to see him in his convertible Mustang driving around town. Wonderful guy. Anyway, Fred encouraged me, and that's how I got involved in AKAKU and TV and radio originally here on Maui. I'm a refugee from L.A. That'll be a story for another day. But here at AKAKU, I've been getting the camera out. Don Couch, our former council and representative, was one of my teachers at the original school. And Jay April and the people that were around, and Lou and Tree and Chivo, all these years, I'm sort of like the outside guy. That means non-paid. Been doing my own thing and my own producer and my own chief cook and bottle washer. Probably have done, God knows, roughly 1,000 shows. Little plus, little minus. And, and to me, keeping it simple was better. But the concept has been there. In fact, again, this isn't the show to go in detail, but realize MauiArtsAndMusic.org. Maui Arts and, spelled out, music.org. The Maui Arts and Cultural Center is MauiArts.org. Well, is that a coincidence? No, it's not. Pundi Yokouchi, may rest in peace, and a beautiful statue there in the lobby of the Maui Arts and Cultural Center, called me after I had booked the original New Year's Eve and New Year's Day booking and paid for it and was going to do an event. And there's a long story that goes with it, but the idea goes from way back then. And then Pundi had a stroke, and it changed me having a local ally who really had the clout. I was really like, who is that guy? He's running against Linda Lingle? And what? And where? Who is he? Where is he from? But I have a fairly different background. Part of it was music, and we'll explore that because the Maui Arts and Music Association is intended to be a platform to showcase visual artists and healing artists and musical artists, Hawaiian and other cultures, and give them an opportunity to be seen across genres and be seen by the world. And if we put together programs and shows for them and with them, a portion of that, a good portion of that, will go toward money through M.A.M.A to Maui Arts and Music Association, toward the development of technologies that we can implement and use here to create a self-sustainability model for the world. Those are a lot of words. I've been speaking those for 30 years, more than 30 years, which is why I sound like I'm, sounding so smooth. But that's what it's been about. And when I started the Neutral Zone in 2018, little did I know, in 2020 this whole thing with the COVID would shut our world down, because originally, when it was ahead of time, 2020 was when we are looking ahead and have 2020 vision. And we're going to implement this plan in 2020, when people have now grown up to the idea that our environment is important and needs to be front and center. That they have grown up to the idea that together we are stronger and better, and that the Hawaiian culture can be represented and elevated, and so can all the other groups and cultures, and come together and be seen by the world for what we want to show with our aloha, and also by implementing some of these solutions. By me getting involved way back when in politics, I ended up attracting some very interesting people with their ideas way ahead of the curve of implementation. Like, there's a program right now that we want to talk about, Regenitech, which is an environmental program. How we do in time? I'm talking. And this program, and the guy that did it was involved with AI back in the 70s, artificial intelligence. And people have made choices way before now. A lot of the things that are right now new, cutting edge, we have the opportunity to be that, using cutting edge technologies here. And by us raising and having money, and being able to raise that money through showing and showcasing to the world our art and music, we can encourage money to come in that we can use in that way, a positive ecotourism model that we implement. We could show alternative housing models, all kinds of things. But that's why we're changing the name of the show to M.A.M.A Present, because the Maui Arts and Music Association, M.A.M.A, has another component called PAPA. Mama and Papa, people aligned in positive action. That's the action step taken after M.A.M.A brings in the money and showcases the softer, loving, more expansive arts, and Papa implements. People, I guess that's an interesting old colloquialism, but Mama and Papa together are the foundation of dream makers. A vision plus action will create a result. Look where we are now. Who would think that the world would wake up to this environmental crisis, and that we, living on an island who have a huge need, can showcase a way of taking our green waste and turning it into power, and a builder for superfoods and super expansion, and be able to showcase this to the world through shows like this and through our artists and musicians, that we can help. Also, we can train a whole industry of people that learn how to use these programs and can do their own radio and television shows, and can run through a network that we can have right here or plug in through here. We have an amazing amount of people that are here that could be plugged in and help immediately train and create, along with the college, and integrate with AKAKU here, local television, a whole industry. And because the world is getting digital, it's a way to be able to expand beyond our borders, be able to limit the physical growth, to be able to still provide opportunities of an elevated nature for our local people to be able to, quote, compete in a global market and either be here or be traveling, but really, if you will, step up the game. I'm going to take a break after this, but this is what I was talking with Pundi about in 1993. That's 30 years ago, so you can imagine. My words, I get a little frustrated because things have moved on in some ways without me, but I think it's God doing it, waiting for the right time, because I don't do it. I feel like the movie The Matrix. These are pieces of a giant matrix, and the pieces, I saw the pieces before, and the plans that we had are really here and now. They're becoming more visible to more people. And that is why I say this is and may be that critical mass. Let's see if we can get another song out. It's interesting. Here's one. I think that's interesting to me. This is a song in 1976. I recorded this song. It was written by me and a guy named Don Gear. Don Gear was he wrote a lot of beautiful songs, but this one's called Stardust Road. Willie Nelson lost it in his card room and never did it rise again. But now's a good time. There's still people to do it, including all kinds of talk. That's another show. It's called Stardust Road.
When I lived out in the country, I used to dream of money and fame. So me and my girlfriend Margot came out to L.A. And while Margot was a waitress and I was a fixing cars, we kept it all together, pretending we were stars. Margot was in the movies and I was singing the rock and roll. We would go out by the highway to a make-believe place called Stardust Road. And we made believe it was spotlights from the cars passing on their way. The roar of the engines was our crowd as we got up on the stage. The trees are full of people calling for us to begin. And we played all night 'cause that highway crowd kept calling us back again. They would stand and call our names out loud and beg us not to leave. And if anyone could see, we gave them a memory to last forever. Well, now Margot is in the movies and my album has just gone gold. The phone's been ringing off the wall and I can't find time alone. So when Margot's tired of interviews and I can't sing another song, we go back out to the highway, to the place we still call Stardust Road. And we make believe it's spotlights from the cars passing on their way. The roar of the engines was our crowd as we got up on the stage. The trees are full of people calling for us to begin. And we played all night 'cause that highway crowd kept calling us back again. Yes, we do our show on Stardust Road because it keeps us free. And if anyone can see, we give them a memory to last forever. To last forever. To last forever.
Wow, that's a memory for me. You know, I listened that the drummer was a guy named Kenny Park who played drums with Donna Summer. Love to Love You. A lot of people know Donna Summer. There have been lots of good songs from her. She was quite an idol. And then the other part of the band, Melanie Shakirik. Remember the song, I Got a Brand New Pair of Roller Skates? Well, I met these guys when Melanie was doing an album called Cyclone at Artie Ripp's studio. Artie Ripp was the first manager of Billy Joel. Billy Joel, his brother, there's an artist on Maui whose brother, Ira, was working for CBS April Blackwood, and the whole tie-in with music business at the beginning there. Singer-songwriter Billy Joel. You know, that was the year I was in. Jackson Brown. I remember I was hired by a sweetening guy, a guy that did strings and horns, David Campbell, and I met string players, horn players, and a lot of basic track players, people that Russ Kunkel, Lee Sklar, the people playing with Linda Ronstadt and Jackson Brown, and God knows, all kinds of people. Bette Midler, and these were experienced, Cat Stevens, great experiences for me. And through all that happened there and then where my life went, you know, it's funny. It's like it's been meant to be here, to be able to say, things are bigger than just me. There's a reason bigger than just you going and doing the music. And I've been on this, when I got here in 1988, it became very clear that Maui is a great place to showcase the technology for environment. And that's what we're going to be working on here. You know, this show is part of the creation of the Maui Arts and Music Association, the Dream Makers Foundation of Maui. This 501c3 was there basically to catch the bread, you know, meaning we do shows, a third of everything goes to the players, a third goes to administration, a third goes into environmental projects. And that whole plan is sitting and waiting along with the people on this island who fit the bill to play a lot of those roles now. Before it was a vision, now the players are all in place, so it will be easier for people to see that this vision is them. This isn't a replacement. This is a way of coordination in a way that hasn't been done before. It's really funny that the travel industry, the Maui Hotel and Lodging Association, in many ways has lost the power that it had before, because when I asked them, can you get a meeting together of your members, can you send something to all your members, they hem and haw, when in fact all the members together represent a body that could be supportive of projects so that the people that are getting the benefit in the tourism industry could help fund some of these projects to employ art and music and get these shows going. They would be the big winners among the others in the island. So that's to be explored. But when we publicly talk about it, we'll have everyone's opinion. That's what the Neutral Zone was set up for. We did interviews of people. We didn't really worry what their positions were, whether they're politicians or whether they had ideas they wanted to give to politicians, whether they were green, red, blue, doesn't matter. Because when we get together and we talk about things, we also get to see someone genuinely. Is what they have something that contributes to the greater good? Does it do something that's going to be using and employing what we have or making things better? So I always look for the best. And so the Neutral Zone, where people can come on, is going to continue in interviews that will be, sometimes it'll be the whole show. I'll have guests in the studio. Sometimes we'll have people on the phone. We're going to be setting up Zoom here so we can have another camera, but I guess on radio you don't need it. But we're going to be, I guess at some point, simulcast on AKAKU locally and maybe shown in other places. We hope so. Hope Pacifica's listening and all the people of the world. Because M.A.M.A, Maui Arts and Music Association, to showcase our visual art and healing art and music and the culture of these islands, is just such a rich environment They just formed a Hawaiian cultural group, and they're part of M.A.M.A. They're automatically, as they choose to be known, and part of the website and part of this vision. Right now, the website is sort of, I want to say, cost maybe $3,000 I put in, hiring someone to piece it together and hold place until more people would come forward who have the skills, people that have the skills to raise the money and do productions, people to do all kinds of different things through this central banner, like branding of Hawaii, Maui's art and music, with a purpose to educate people about environmental solutions and create this model of self-sustainability. I think we're in that kind of culture and environment. Not only is the world waking up, but we now have a governor who openly is trying to do things, and some people don't like the way he may be going at it. Some people do. But, he's another welcome guest. Everyone's a welcome guest. If you have something you want to say, you're not only welcome here in the studio, and if you don't want to be in the studio, 808-873-3435. That's our call-in number. 808-873-3435. That's going to be on the air with me. So, give a call in. Again, the website, MauiNeutralZone.com and MauiArtsAndMusic.org. You'll go there, you'll explore, you'll say, wow, this has been going on all this time? And some of you will say, oh yeah, that's why I voted for this guy. Because what I talk about is, I guess you'd say, social. I don't know how to separate what I do for a living and what I feel and my politics. It all mixes together. Sort of like when people eat and they say, okay, I don't want my peas to touch the meat or touch the mashed potatoes. They have to stay separate. And some people mix them together. I'm a mix-it-together guy. And I see some peppers over there, and I add them in, and I add in some cumin and a little turmeric. And then I find ways to use the resources we have wisely and don't perceive anything as waste or people as waste. That kind of is a door opener. Just so happens, today, this morning, the wait list for HUD housing is opening up. It's a very interesting situation. It's opening up for a couple of days. So the Housing and Urban Development wait list is opening for people that want to get this list so that they can get housing. That sounds like, okay, I'll get a voucher and I'll get housing. Well, I heard from HUD. They called me back today because I wasn't looking for it, but I was looking to help people that I know directly. Listen to this. When you sign up on the wait list, you now are in there for the lottery because they don't have enough to see if you're going to be able to get a voucher and get a place to live. That's because we don't have enough. So, see, here's another area that we can take money that we get and partner with different people, again, for different shows we'll talk about. Partner with different people to create housing in a unique way, experimental housing. And that doesn't mean flimsy, it means experimental, outside of what has been conventional. As the time and age is changing, the nature of families is changing, the nature of how people react and socialize is changing, and what people need and want. Especially on an island, especially we're overrun with people that are homeless and we need facility. So wouldn't it be nice that we could be showing to ourselves and the world, the great people of our island, encourage name stars, whether they be from here or from everywhere. Imagine we have a show and there's Willie Nelson or Alice Cooper comes down and supporting. He sees, Vince Esquire, I like him, I want to showcase him. Here's Fleetwood, he's saying, I want to show Lenny. Lenny's my bass player, he's a fantastic bass player. Or Gretchen Rhodes, or the people in his band, or Paul Marchetti playing drums, or maybe we want to talk about different groups here. But now the local groups will get known to the world. We can sell product. We can share it so that people who are coming here from wherever will want to see and know these groups. We can showcase and show our new people. We can create written product and show it on our own channels and be able to showcase and give extra content that's focused on these islands and to our people, and have revenue coming in to help programs that are going to help people, directly help people. Sounds like a fun time, and that's what we want to do, is basically, it's not even bringing it out of the mothballs. It's expose it so more people see it and share and say, hey, let's call in. I have ideas about housing. Let's call 808-873-3435 on Monday at 11. Jason's talking, that guy Schwartz, Jason Schwartz. And they'll say, what? Jason Schwartz from Hawaii? Well, I was going to say, I just saw this vision of my friend Tony. Tony's on the board. Tony, the local show, Tony is the man. He's been keeping this radio station not only alive, but flourishing. Since this COVID period especially, he's been invaluable. Today he was wearing a shirt that said Jason. I said, and I looked at it, and it looked like there was a girl swimming on the ocean from Jaws, and under the ocean there was a helmet like Star Wars, and he told me it's a compilation shirt, but I thought, wow, that's terrific. We are going to be doing things and bringing things on to bring all of our community together. And we may be bigger than an hour's time. We may find ourselves to be 2 hours or 3 hours in the week. And so, we have no time limit. But here we do at this station, and I'm now going to be focusing my time back on 11 o'clock Monday and focusing my audience to realize that Monday at 11, besides hearing conversation with guests, like I ran into Sheila Walker. Some of you remember from the last election period. Sheila ran down in Kihei for a seat. And she didn't win, but she's an interesting lady with great ideas. I always think it interesting when someone's a Republican. Not that I'm a Green Democrat or who knows what I am. I'm technically a Green, but I can tell you I am not always in agreement with the Green things. I'm not always in agreement with Democrat. I'm not always in agreement with Republican. I'm for looking for what's best for the people. And I'm looking for other leaders to join with me and help me do things that I may not be totally qualified to be doing. But the vision is here to attract these right people in our local community and do it with the idea of giving and sharing and nurturing in mind. I've been too exposed to the situation around here for houselessness. Some people call it homeless, houseless. If you have no house, these people have a home wherever they are. And I've found that many of the people in the homeless community and the houseless community, the ones that don't have cars, that are out there, there's all kinds of people. They help each other where they can, and yet there's rampant crime. I've seen horrible things happen. I've seen people that don't want to go to the shelters. I've seen people that try to go to the shelters, and there's no room at the shelters because they themselves have different issues and problems, and they're not willing to give it up, or they have a dog, or all kinds of things, or they don't want to give up cigarettes, or they don't want to give up their freedom. And we should find a way to create alternative and use these people in a way that they want to be used, and bring up their spirits and put together work programs that go together with housing programs and incorporate them, do things in a unique and different way, and take the agencies that are here and existing and explore what they're doing and try to give them an expanded vision, or research where they may be having these programs that aren't reaching the people that need them. It's a very complicated situation. I can see we're a good ways through the show, but we still have a lot of time. So I just wanted to do the opening or a reintroduction into the Neutral Zone live in the studio. I could have had a guest here. There's a guy in from Montana who called me, who said, hey, now's a good time you can get some video of the mill, the old sugar mill, because he's speaking to the sugar mill people, the people who just bought it, to possibly use a portion of their place to be able to put up his project, which is the Regenitech project. What does that mean? Taking green waste, again, we can talk on another show in more detail, taking green waste, and instead of letting it go to the landfill or being used in whatever way, being able to use it in a process to take algae and in this situation create a fuel that can run a jet, that can create power, that can create a full process, and the resulting waste is biochar. Biochar. Isn't that good for soil? Yeah. And the other waste that can be extracted out of the green, well, what can you do with that? Well, they've been doing tests. In fact, there was a test last year to show the efficacy of the product. Didn't really talk about some of the other factors, although we could talk about them on other shows. And again, these are things we hope to be involved with. That means having shows and raising money and things that we're going to talk about, and we're going to bring on people to expand these ideas with us. But imagine that, being able to have a product to be able to take your green waste would allow you to grow things in greater volume naturally through and out of your fields and at home, and to be able to create power. Power is the byproduct of this, because we're creating a soil amendment to bring our soil back. We talk about taking the problems out of the soil. Give you an example. When they were checking the microbiome on this one soil in Kula, in a less than 6 month period, a little less than 6 months, the lab showed 3,000% increase. 3,000% increase compared to the way it was in the microbiome. That's huge, huge. Now, the potential for these things that can be explored and implemented here, where we can create them here and showcase them to the world, and basically also have an exportable product and an exportable technology that we link up and can be part of throughout the world. What an amazing thing. It all started because we worked together. And we worked together before it was economically viable. We who have a vision for a future and who have music and art in our heart, who have culture in our heart, who want to respect the local culture, who want to respect and slow down and be able to appreciate a beautiful place, can be able to have solutions that help them keep that happening, and yet can address the problems of our time and age, and yet be on the cutting edge for their people to stay competitive in a global market, and yet if they choose to stay personal and keep true to their culture, all coming together. Maybe sounds confusing to some, but stop and take a listen to this again, and I think you're going to find interesting segments and have ideas for interesting shows for the future. So I'm going to break this up with another song, so if you're listening again, you'll breathe and say, oh yeah, you know, I could do this, or you could talk to that, or we could do a show here, or like that, okay? Let's see what's on here. Well, here's a gentleman that, well, I guess I won't play that. I'll save on that because I'm going to wait. Here's one I sang. This is by another guy, but I can sing it because of his thing, and I sang it. It's a Lono. And there's a drummer named Renato who is now retired with his beautiful wife Patty. They're in Italy. But Renato had a studio in Kula. And my friend Lono, who's now on Molokai playing ukulele and guitar, but Lono was doing music and moving toward Hawaiian music, which he pretty much now does all Hawaiian music. But we went into the studio and I did his song. This one was called 1924, from the ages of 1924 and his experience.
Living on the outside, breaking up inside, all because of the image we want them to see. She goes on dreaming, no commitments here. It's just the goodbyes, and it hurts through the night. From the morning that she said goodbye and then went on believing, inside was a lonely cry. This pain without the healing, she said, it's this that I miss, and I have no regrets.
'cause it's you that I'm falling in love with again. Yes, it's you that I'm falling in love with again. Sharing his sunshine, he watched the day go by. Still hidden inside, he couldn't say how he felt, and he cried for the first time as she went on her way. And letting her go was the price he would pay. From the morning that he said goodbye and then went on believing, inside was a lonely cry, this pain without the healing. She said, it's this that I miss, and I'll have no regrets, 'cause it's you that I'm falling in love with again. Yes, it's you that I'm falling in love with again. Yes, it's you that I'm falling in love with again. It's you. From the morning that she said goodbye and then went on believing, inside was a lonely cry, this pain without the healing. She said, it's this that I miss, and I'll have no regrets, 'cause it's you that I'm falling in love with again. From the morning that he said goodbye and then went on believing, inside was a lonely cry, this pain without the healing. She said, it's this that I miss, and I'll have no regrets, 'cause it's you that I'm falling in love with again. Yes, it's you that I'm falling in love with again. Yes, it's you that I'm falling in love with again. It's you. Here we go. That was me singing Lono's song, 1924. You know, at that same session, and Renato suddenly said, hey, you can sing. I never heard that before. Yeah, I've been singing a long time, and there are a lot of musicians on this island I've sung with. But I'm hoping that we'll do more of that again and bring them on the show and also showcase them to the world. Like one guy I want to bring on here, we all know Eric Gilliam. Eric Gilliam as the Hawaiian, the white Hawaiian, local guy. I remember when I first met Eric, I can't believe how many years ago this is, but 30 years ago, my God. Anyway, and his father is who I had met, and Lloyd and I had an interesting, relationship. And then Amy, over the years, I've said hi and waved to some of these people and watched them on to success. I remember sitting in Diamonds way before things were happening with Amy and Willie, and times that have changed. Well, Willie K, we'll talk about him. I hope we'll have some guests on the show. There's some great people around here on this island that we want to showcase, and that's what this is about. M.A.M.A. presents. We can showcase great people. I'm just talking about Eric and Amy, but how many people aren't here? Like, how many people in the world would like to see who Kathy Collins is? Not only as a great announcer and mistress of ceremonies for projects, but she in her own right is a comedian and a great actress, and we could go on and on. There weren't that long ago when I was a kid here at 37, came to Maui. I remember meeting Tashambi and Lenny and Lono and Lenny Castellanos now, and Paul Marchetti, playing with the big guys. Maui has a very rich culture here. The people, when Vince Esquire's father, Rudy, was playing saxophone, I imagine he's still around and playing. I'd like to get him out again and be able to have the young people and old people and all people working together, raising people's awareness of our environment and enjoying music and bringing out Hawaiian people, talking about ideas, talking about solutions for that's what this show wants to do. And M.A.M.A. presents because we want to be bigger than just the neutral zone. That's just a portion where we have an open forum. And when we talk about a situation like homeless and houseless. I mean, even today, I'd like to spend some time talking about issues that are hard-hitting and right now. I mean, I know someone that, through an unfortunate situation, became houseless in February, early February. And she tried to be homeless, had no money. In Kahului, got beaten up, no place to sleep, can't go to the shelter because friends of hers had problems where they were hung at the shelter. What? Well, I don't know the detail. We sure would like to know the detail. I've heard all kinds of stories. I imagine you out there in the listening audience, some have heard, some don't know. What? I'd like to bring the shelter people on and talk about it. Or, and they'll say, well, you can't talk about, I'd bring about the people that are talking about it. And I'd like to be able to find out, why don't we have this? And why do we have that? And why is there such a drug base of sales in Kalama Park and Kihei? And how come people get their heads smashed in all over and we don't see it in the news? What are we doing? What are we covering? How are we dealing with things? That's what the Neutral Zone is here for, so that the public not only have a bitching session. Are you allowed to say bitch? I don't know. Anyway, but be able to propose solutions. And anyway, I've been going to I think it's the fourth Thursday every month. The 27th of July is the next one. Healing Solutions for Homeless in the county building where the DMV is, upstairs in room 207, where the public can testify about issues that belong with homelessness and houselessness. So I hope people that will come to that meeting, but also tune in here. If you've got something you want to be saying and sharing, let's do it. This is the way to reach out to the community. If we keep working at this period, this time slot will get to be known as a time you can call in and talk about important issues and something that hits you in the heart. That's what I'd like to see us do here, is become alive and interactive, on-screen interactive with our community. Maybe I should have my Mac over here. This is mostly a radio show, but because of what we do, we also can simulcast it on TV. So I'm going to have to learn to sit differently so that I have two cameras or whatever we're doing here. But anyway, but I want to make sure you remember MauiNeutralZone.com, MauiArtsAndMusic.org. If you go to those two and look at the menu, you'll look at possibilities. Maui Neutral Zone is where most of our shows are sitting. But you can also find them on YouTube, and of course at AKAKU. I'm not sure how they do it. They have a pay-per-view situation set up, but that's why I set up everything through Maui Neutral Zone. We would have been the Neutral Zone. It's anything but neutral as our subtitle, because we are anything but neutral. But, and that's what that round circle is all about. A bouncing ball, an easy time, a coming in, everyone talking and sharing, and then something coming in and trying to pierce that, breaking that thing. Well, in our world, we want to have conversation. My original thing was to have a contest. Maybe we'll have a contest and give away tickets to shows and things, to redesign the opening animation for our show, and maybe all kinds of stuff. Anyway, if you know an artist or a musician that would like to be on our show or would like to be in our shows, I want you to be able to feel free to give them our number. I guess can I give out my number? Sure I can. 808-874-5900. But most important, look at the website, because we all pick up, and that means me, the email there. Because Jason at MauiArtsAndMusic.org or info or all kinds of different things. But more important, this is you. If you will see how you plug into this, you're going to find that is the better way to look at this, because there's a great potential for us to put these pieces together at this time and have a major impact and be able to bring in resources through this process to help our self-sustainability, and through that be an example to the world. The best part is we will be living in this solution. An interactive community, money being raised to doing things that we all love, people around the world seeing what's going on here, wanting to come here for more than just a suntan. As weather will change, as things will change, we will show how in the middle of nowhere, the most remote land masses in the world, we're able to be self-sustainability, and we model what we do after the aloha spirit of the Hawaiian culture that teaches all of us. I have so much to learn. I remember taking a college class, by the way, Hawaii Center of the Pacific, with a guy named Keopi Raymond. What a fabulous course. Really learning the history of the Hawaiian people. I'm sure it was just an opening door. But living on Maui and integrating with the people and getting more and more aware of the culture and honoring the situation is really a more sustainable and, I think, conscious way of having, quote, living, and tourism to be part of what we do, and maybe have zones where that's more active and other zones where a more local consciousness and activity is created. I think that's in a lot of minds and a lot of groups doing. I guess I was on this train a long time before it was fashionable, before it was a train. But we're still there. We still got a little more time. You know, I am wondering, I know what I'll do. I think it would be nice. I'm going to play a song here. See who recognizes this. Is it playing? I hope it is. I don't know. I'll play something else. I was trying to play something else. Is that playing? It's very funny to not be able to tell. And try it again. There we are. Yeah. It's amazing to me how many years have gone by and how many great, great musicians that I've seen here and met here on Maui. Some live here, and Bruce Beckvar is one of them. I remember seeing Sri Chimnoy and at the Maui Lu, which is now where the Hilton is in Kihei. And there I saw Bruce Beckvar play, and I thought, man, this guy is great. And he did a couple more albums, and I'm sure many people look him up, Beckvar. They'll really love his music. And Lono, you know, at lonomusic.com, you're going to find Lono in his present incarnation. Lono is a wonderful being. He is a wonderful friend. You know, through the years, I got to really early in my time on Maui, got to be introduced to the island through my friends that I got early on, which was Lono and Lenny and his wife Heather. And I got introduced to Heather by John Woodhouse because I was trying to showcase music way back when, and John Woodhouse is the one that referred me, because we wanted to do a directory of musicians on the island, and they thought that we'd like to do it. Like I say, this all ties into how M.A.M.A got its name and its start and where we wanted to go and how things developed through the years. But now's a good time to put new juice into this. You know, we are almost off the air, so I want to be sure to mention we have a show coming up July 7th through 30th, MauiOnStage.com, Something Rotten. I ran into Paul James Brown here at the studio, and you can get tickets for Something Rotten. It's directed by Lisa Teichner. It's a very wonderful and funny show. Lisa Teichner, love you, my dear. She's a wonderful lady. Look at some of the people in this show. My goodness gracious. Leah Krieg, Bob Wills, Paul James Brown, Gina Duncan, Dale Button, Keegan Otterson, Bailey Miller, Gabriel Frampton, Kaylee Caio, Cameron Lum, Marcy Smith,